that it's just one day you wake up and realize that's what you've always been. The one that doesn't always fit in. The one that likes the woods, the sun and sky, cats, owls, and the moon. The one who stays up late reading books, playing role-playing games, and learning the names of the stars. The one that likes to wear black eyeliner, capes. And then you realize, oh, that's what I am. I'm a witch.
So exciting. That's what I am, Lola. I'm a witch.
I'm a witch too.
I like it. I love being a witch. Witch. Welcome, everybody, to the Seeker's Path class from the Aquarian Tabernacle Church. The Seeker's Path Oracle deck was created by Lola Stardust, a high priestess in the ATC affiliated congregation of churches around the world. She is the high priestess in Spokane. So we're so happy. Children of the Crossroads.
There you go. Not Coven of the Crossroads.
Not Coven. Children. I got it right. You know how I remember it? People.
How?
People.
Yeah, yes.
And then children.
Children. Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
You're hive.
You're the hive of the people. Yep.
The hive of the people. So excited to be here today. Yes. So what we're doing is we're talking about different cards in this oracle deck that cover the different subjects of the craft. And the cards are really cool because you can use them like flashcards or like teaching cards, but you can also use them as an oracle deck. So what we're going to do is talk about this thing, whatever the next card is, which I hear is Athame. I'm super excited about it.
It's
Athame. We're covering Athames today. Please say hello. If you want to, we can see your chat. We're showing this live on Facebook and YouTube. So either one, we get the chat so we can talk to you. We're so happy to be here today. And then at the end, we'll talk about how to use it as an oracle. Right, Lola?
Yeah. It's pretty cool because you can use these as any kind of divination tool you want. And so how we do at the end, we end up just kind of saying, hey, what do you think this card would mean if you got it in a reading or as an oracle card? So yeah, that's my favorite part. No, you know what? My favorite part is hosting with you, Bella.
Oh, Lola, I love talking witchcraft with you. We've been doing this in a variety of ways, and every time we do it, I have so much fun. I just want to do it again. I'm like, hey, Lola, I got an idea. Let's do this.
Yeah,
let's do this. Hey, Lola, let's do this. She's my going live, ride or die. Here we are.
That's my new nickname. Going live, ride or die.
Yay! So let's talk about today's. There we
look
go.
At that.
The Athame. I think the Athame is the most villainized of all of the Wiccan tools on in Hollywood. He's
because the sword they go because they witches carry knives like we're gonna cut you, and it's
witches do carry knives. I have a variety of them in front of me to share with you. But why do we carry knives?
Oh,
we talked about protection last week.
Yeah.
We talked about protection.
Yeah,
so,
I saw that. It shows protection. Yeah, but why do us witches like our knives? What do we do with them? What are we trying to do when we use our Athame? And also pronunciation. I've heard it pronounced Athame. I've heard it Athame. I'm like, just Athame. It's a knife.
You know what? Let's talk about pronunciation. That's really good. So let's start out with in the 1980s when I was trained. I was trained by a Brit, and he worked in Glastonbury. He was from Manchester, England, and he came to America to meet a priestess that he was going to train to be head of a great house, which I thought was a really great pickup line when I heard it, and didn't work on because he was way older than me, and I was married to somebody who I thought was quite the hottie at the time. Yeah. So he didn't stand a chance with that, but I was all interested in everything that he had to say about witchcraft, and he would say Athame.
Athame, yeah.
Athame. That
Athame.
is the 10, 15 years later, I met a man in Georgia, and he said, "Oh, the British tradition and the British pronunciation," and I was like, "Is that why I say it different from most of you people? I just thought that y'all didn't know how to pronounce it."
So you called it Athame also
for years.
That's how That's how my coven I was in before. That's how the high priest said it. He said Athame.
Athame is the British pronunciation. And those of us who were trained by English trained people usually say Athame. Athame is the U.S. pronunciation of the word.
Yeah.
And Athame means that you have read a book and never actually heard anybody say it. Yeah.
There's that. Yes.
I mean,
it's you know what, it's like potato, it's good to know pronunciations, but we also I think what's the most important is what we do with these Athames. And someone said something in the comments, cuts through the bad energy.
Cuts through the bad energy. Yes, protection. It definitely cuts through the bad energy. It's here we go with our knives. So I know. I see you fondling your knife, Lola. It's hard not to once you get it in your hand, right?
I love it. Yeah.
I was telling the story last week of the everybody pulling their knives out, and I started running for knives, and I was like, "Oh my God, I've got so many, but I don't have enough. Dusty, go find me more knives." And then, of course, I had to get a challenge because we have to also talk about what you do with the knives.
Yes. So
I do think pronunciation is important, though, because when one day a lady called me up and she said, "Can I use your circle to do a ritual to Sarah Dween?" And I did not know who Sarah Dween was. And she kept trying to explain to me who Sarah Dween was. And she said, the one with the cauldron that shape shifts. And I said, Caribbean?
Yeah.
So, and I once heard Erishka Gall called Erish Kegel, who is...
There's a Kegel in there somewhere.
Yeah. So it's important to know the correct pronunciation so that we can all just understand what's going on. It's a big sky. There's a lot to learn. If you say things with an incorrect pronunciation, then it's harder to work with other people. So Athame, both of those will get you by.
Yeah.
Whichever one you like.
They'll know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they'll know what you're talking about.
So what is I like that Kayla said cuts through the bad energy. I also think it just cuts through. It's used to we use it with our circles, right? We're cutting through.
Well, we cast circle with it, and
we're making we're cutting that. I always like to call it the almost like it's. Oh my God, I can't. Help me out, Bella. What are we doing when we're opening this? Not opening. We are casting the circle.
Casting circle. Calling quarters.
Yeah. And we're cutting through. I feel like we're cutting through space and time with it.
Well, you cut between the worlds. You do cut a space between the worlds.
Thank you. That was what I was trying to think of. I was like the tween space. Thank you. I was like space and time, space, something between. Oh, that is.
Well, so the Athame energetically works a lot like a laser. It cuts a steady stream, and it works beyond the end of it. You don't actually cut anything with an Athame, a sacred blade. You're supposed to have a white-handled knife to cut things with, and a black-handled knife to project energy. Now, this is not my personal blade. This is one that I used when I was Athena, and I wanted to have a spear beside me, but the spears were all really tall, so I
Yeah.
used this one,
Oh,
and nobody
yeah.
ever knew that it didn't have a handle on it. But one of the things that I think is really important is about how we handle the blade. You do not want a sharp knife, because if you accidentally rub your knife up against somebody's flailing arms around when everybody's drawing stars in the air, you ruined your blade. So it's best for it not to be sharp.
Yep.
Okay. And it's supposed to have a black handle because it draws in energy and it goes out this way. Right.
Yep.
And it's double bladed for the most part. I have a blade right here that's single sided and one that's double bladed. Why would it be double bladed?
Well, I look kind of cool. I look kind of 80s new wave doing that. I'm sorry. I learned with the shiny sunglasses.
Depeche Mode.
All right. Anyway, I learned that it's double-sided because magic cuts both ways. Is how I learned. That's right. About it. Yeah.
That is the way that you say it. It's double-sided because magic cuts both ways. And you have to be very careful what you do with it. So my teacher taught me to pick up the knife, hold it to my heart, acknowledge the knife, hold it to my heart, kiss it, and then use it. Now,
we do when we cast, we after we call do the pentagrams, the quarters, we actually kiss our knife after we do it. So,
well, I was going to say, after you use it, you kiss it, and then you return it. You acknowledge it, and you return. And sometimes you kiss it, hold it to your heart, acknowledge it, put it down. And that is so that you use it with intent and you've thought about it. What am I doing with this? This is a very sacred thing. So if you pick it up and put it to your heart, and then you kiss it, and then you use it, you've had 1, 2, 3, 4 times before you have decided to use that blade to give it thought.
Yeah, and there's that intent, because it is a very powerful tool, and not only just physically looking at it, but what it does for us is, I think it's really, really important. And it's also a way, I always thought the kissing of it was like honoring it also, like you really are honoring your tools, you're honoring this Athame, and like you're showing it respect. And I think that's important, to show our tools respect.
I think it's also that you're sending that kiss through it. It's part of let nothing but love leave and let nothing but love enter.
Yeah. That's awesome. I've people have seen us do our kissing the blade, and some people have never seen that. And I thought that's what everyone do. So I'm glad you brought up kissing the blade, because I'm like, okay, that validates that we are doing something that's very traditional and honoring. It
is very traditional. Now, I'm not big on kissing blades. That's not what I do. You guys, I am a straight to the point witch. I like to get straight to it. I just want to, I have to add the flowery stuff in after I write the point of it. I call it the bullet. Give me the bullet. Don't take 10 minutes to tell me something that can be said in 3 words. I got a lot of stuff to do, a lot of ground to cover. So I'm not much for that movement. I'm also not much for the salt and cast, the salt and water at the beginning of a ritual. You never seen me do that. I know why. I know why to do it and when. I just, everybody has to develop their own magic, right?
Yeah, and absolutely. But that's why I like talking about this, because there's so many different ideas and different ways that people have learned how to use their Athame, how to use it in circle. Some people, I do know, they get right to the point. Some people have all the theatrics with the we're kind of somewhere in between. We just do it, Guardians of Watchtowers of the South, Spirits of Fire, blah, 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 blah. And then, hail and welcome. And then we kiss and then we move on. So, yeah. We kiss and move on. Like I did.
Kiss and move on.
All the boys in the 90s.
We consecrate. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But it all works. it's about calling your awareness and layering your intent. The cool thing about an Athame is that, like I said, it's like it's a laser, whereas a wand kind of shoots boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Like
and we're gonna I love that sound effects. We're gonna talk about wand next week, so I think it's cool because there's a lot of people people who are newer to the craft or maybe forgot some of this, because you know what, the basics are, like we say, the basics are good to get back to. You could be practicing witchcraft for 30 years and sometimes you only have so much room in your head for information and things fall out. So there was certain things I would see that have been switched over time. I know that some people related the knives or swords or athames with fire and the wands with air. But I was trained the other way, which most of us, I think, is that this is air. So why do you think this is air? Because when I first started, I thought, doesn't it make more sense that this is fire because it's so pokey and strong? But someone explained to me, why is this with the element of air?
Okay.
Are you going to answer that? Do you want me to say what I
do you want me to say, or do you want to wait on somebody to say?
Well, if someone wants to type, but yeah, I mean, why is it related to air? Why is this related to air? Yeah.
Okay, so I believe that when Crowley passed down the secrets to Gardner, that he changed some things around, because that's what ceremonial magicians do. And even within their own traditions, you'll go and they'll say, this is the secret. And then you'll get to the next level and they'll say, actually, this is the secret. And, and stuff like that. So I just think that it was switched around by Crowley along with earth and air. Because if you put wands with air and Athame with fire, you've definitely different energies. So the way I look at it is I have tarot cards. And if you'll look at your tarot cards, you will notice that wands are usually on fire.
Yep.
And that swords are usually depicted in air scenes. I can't seem to find a single one right now because of this rotary deck. This rotary deck doesn't use traditional symbolism. But if you've got the Mythic Tarot or the Rider-Waite or the Witches Tarot, you'll see that a lot of times swords are with clouds.
Yeah,
I mean,
and they're in the
sword on the Rider-Waite is surrounded by clouds.
Yep. Yeah.
And the wand is on fire. Okay. Yep. So if it's that way in the tarot is older than Wicca.
Yeah.
I know that people like to think that Wicca is back from shamanistic times. I do believe that we had indigenous people who believed similar things to what we believe and practiced similar things to what we practice in Neolithic times up to today, but it wasn't Wicca.
It wasn't Wicca. No, Wicca's very new.
Wicca was invented in the 50s by Gardner and from the things that he apparently was taught, and it works. And I like the name, and that's what we're doing. But it wasn't, it wasn't Neolithic times. So
well, yeah, and so that's what happened when I had learned a long time ago that the blade was fire, and then I started reading tarot, and then I noticed in the tarot cards, and that's when I went and I started questioning. I'm like, wait a minute, and and like you said, I think it just got switched, and but then when you work with it, to me now it makes no sense to put this with fire at all anymore. Like over 10 years ago it might have, but now I've been using this for air for so long that I can't imagine doing it any other way. So yeah.
Well, I have the handy dandy wheel that Dusty just handed me, and it shows I don't know if you can see it, if it
Yeah.
stops. It shows wands with air and no, it shows swords with air and wands with fire. But have you ever tried to light a sword on fire? But
No,
this is really the way I think about it. Okay, a wand is phallus, right? And a sword is also considered phallic, right?
Yep.
But it takes skill to make a sword. Anybody can pick up a stick and hit somebody with it.
Yeah.
It takes skill to make a sword. And fire is more a defensive weapon, where air is more offensive. And swords and words is the same thing. But also, I see fire as instinct. And, you know, a club is what cavemen had, but also sex is instinctual. Everybody's worried about doing sex, right? And for the most part, you just do what feels good next, and it ends up being the right thing. Right? Yeah. So that doesn't happen when you're making a sword. You can't take a piece of metal and turn it into a sword without having somebody teach how to do it. I mean, it'd take you a long time to figure it out. So these are the reasons that you start coming up with, okay, so why? But mostly I look to the ancients, because astrology is a 5,000-year unbroken tradition.
Yeah.
The Rider-Waite was created in, I think it was the 1800s.
It was.
If you look at Egyptian and all of these, they have really great clues for us. And I know that the universe is supposed to be balanced. So when I see something that doesn't make sense, I look deeper.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're supposed to do. But I like that we're talking about, you know, where this comes from, because there are a lot of people that are out there and they say, well, why is it with air? Why is this with fire? Why is this, you know, and have you ever, I've seen people cast circle, obviously with Athames. Have you seen have you casted circle with a wand before?
So my beloved husband used to have an ironwood staff, and he would cast circle with it all the time. But since it was ironwood, it kind of worked both ways. You know, for the most part, wands shoot a burst of energy, and it doesn't work the same way. I mean, you can literally cast circle with your fingers.
Yeah.
Because this is often the best Athame I have available at the time.
Yes, it is.
But I mean, you can do whatever you believe you can do. If you can imagine it, you can do it.
You can do it. Yeah.
So, right. Like there's always that to fall back on. We talk about all of these different things, but then we have to fall back on the fact that we have said over and over that, you know, you have to be able to believe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. There's other kind of swords I have in front of me.
Yeah. I want to see the other ones. Well, scissors. It's a sword, like it's Athame, like
you can use scissors as an Athame. I have sacred scissors. And I have this cool thing. This is a Hawaiian sacred knife that I inherited from Pete's collection. And I don't know what it's made of. It's got all of these cool inscriptions on it. I don't know if you can see them.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Oh, cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, they go all the way down the knife. And then the other side has other stuff on it as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It kind of, I think it's wood. But I couldn't, like, if they said on your life, wood or plastic, I would be like, wood. But I don't know. I don't know. This is Dusty's Athame. It has a nice sheath. I recommend when you are looking for Athames and you want to get one that you have a sheath that you can put around your belt. I've had beautiful Athames that don't have a hanging sheath, and you can't.
I need to find. See, this was passed on to me from my previous coven, and it was blessed, and it means a lot to me. But I don't like that there's nothing. I can't hang it on my cords on my side. So
what you can do with that is get you some leather thonging. and put lacing around it and make you a loop in it and put it below
Oh,
that
yeah.
middle handle to the
Yeah.
top, and that will hold it for you. But you now let's talk about giving people knives, because that's spell work right there.
That is spell work.
What do you suppose it does when you give somebody an athame or a blade or a knife of any kind? When you're like, hey, present, here you go.
I have heard that is it considered cutting a tie with the person,
It
or
severs the relationship.
severs the relationship? Yeah.
You can take a blade and put it in the ground and split a storm coming at you. You know, the blade cuts things.
Yeah.
So if you want to get rid of somebody in your life, you give them an athame or a sword,
Yeah.
or a pocket knife or whatever. So to remedy that, if you don't want to cut the energy between you and somebody else, you have to make them give you something back of value or money. Like, I'm going to need you to. As a matter of fact, in some countries, when they sell you a blade, they give you a penny or some small denomination of money, so that you can give that, and then they can give you the money back.
Because I was going to say, gifting knives is very popular. I mean, that is a thing that people do. They're like, there's people I know who collect swords, they collect knives. And so you go and you gift that to them. So if you want to do that, but you don't want to cut or sever ties, you're saying include like a little bit of money, or that's pretty cool. I did not know that.
Oh yeah. And I think it's funny because it's a common, I mean, like, that's a well-known spell to me, and I think the conjuring community, and other countries, and superstition, and I watch. You just said my coven gave this to me, like the one that you were at before.
I do
now.
What?
The one that you were at before and not in now.
Yeah, not the one I'm in now. Yeah.
Right. But where are you? You're not there.
It makes sense. Yeah.
And I know I watch people who's like, oh, I gave you just got your first degree. Here's your athame from your teacher. And then that person yeets, and you're like, what happened?
Oh, okay. I've learned, this is new to me. I heard about this, but I wasn't sure where it came from. And so
sorry.
Because I was always like, well, if you people, I have bought hunting knives for my brother-in-law. You know what I mean? And so, but if I remember correctly, I do believe they came with some sort of coin or something that came with it that was almost kind of like grounding or something. That was like, it was interesting. So that's all coming back to me now. Like, oh, that's why they do that. So
right. And and Kayla's like, I'll be back. I'm going to give my wife a penny. It's just good insurance. Now your brother-in-law, when you gave him a knife, he might have been feeding you a meal that night. So the karma balanced itself out. We have these back and forths with people, and so it balances the karma out. But if I want to get rid of somebody out of my life, I can anonymously mail them a set of steak knives, and they'll just think they won something in the mail. Like, you don't have to. That's a spell, right?
Well, yeah.
I don't do that, but.
Yeah, I know. I get knives in the mail from Bella.
So never.
I know. I'm kidding. But this is also used for, a lot of people use this for cutting cords with people. So that makes sense that you would do that kind of spell work, because I've had to do that. I've had to do a cutting cord ritual with my athame and it's not about it wasn't about sending a person away. It was about releasing my attachment to that person.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes you really feel under the weight of a relationship, and like you owe them something, or you're like, there's some kind of karmic tie, and giving somebody a knife, a blade, is a really good way of severing that relationship in a way that honors them. Thank you so much. I respect and appreciate everything that you did for me. Here's this beautiful blade.
Yeah. That's
and It's a really good way to end a relationship on purpose too. We
Yeah.
just got divorced. Here's you a knife.
Yeah.
You
That
know,
makes
it's-
perfect sense. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I
yeah.
love that.
So
I'm learning
also,
something new.
well, there's this thing called a pen,
Yes.
and that is an athame. If you write it, it's as good as charging it with a blade. If you write it down, that is your word is power, and thoughts are things. And if you write it, so it shall be written, so it shall be done. That is a powerful way.
Well, is that also, there's also the saying the pen is mightier than the sword.
Correct. And
Yeah.
and you can actually use, like, giving somebody a really nice pen, same kind of thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Do you know how
Yeah.
many pens people have given me or I've given people? I did not know this.
No, but not like a ballpoint pen, like a
Yeah.
nice pen, like a
Yeah.
keeper. You know, this
No,
is a
that's what I'm
disposable.
that's what
wow.
I'm saying. Inscribed pens. I enjoy a nice fancy pen, and that's a very common gift too. I gotta rethink my relationships with these people. No, but you know what you said? You said the balance, it balanced out because there's always something in exchange.
There's a give and
I
take.
did,
There sure is.
I did something nice for them. They saw this beautiful pen because I like nice pens, and they saw this beautiful pen and they said, "Thank you for helping me take care of my kids the other day. Here's a beautiful pen," or whatever. So there's always that exchange. So yeah, I'm not too worried about the
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah. Well, and then I have this one.
Oh, that's the sword.
This is my personal katana. This
I
is
love
what
that.
this is what stays by my bed in case anybody decides to invade my home in the middle of the night. They're gonna find a big Amazon blonde with a sword coming at them, because that's how I roll. This
That
is
is
right
how
by
you
my
roll.
bed. As a matter of fact, it had electronics wrapped up around the thing. but this is a magical sword. This
That's
is the
beautiful.
sword that Pete built.
Ooh. Oh wow.
Yeah, it's got this cool thing, and the guys will throw it over their shoulder and hold this rope, or people. I mean,
Yeah.
guys, boy or girl. The maiden's likely to grab the sword as the summoner. This is a sun thing. This is the triple moon thing. And then this is also another sun thing. And this is a fantastic wooden hilt Pete made himself. Yeah. Is wood.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that your is that the ritual sword? Like, is that
This
your
is the
coven sword?
ATC Mother Church Coven sword. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then he made this man on the top after the guy who's on the cauldron of Hecate's cauldron.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
because
really cool.
yeah, Mother Church, Hecate is the patron goddess of the ATC.
Yeah.
And then of course it's a double blade, and it's got
Of course.
beautiful moon etchings.
Oh, that's gorgeous. That's a beautiful sword.
Treasure, right? Is definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Treasure.
Thank you for sharing that. That was
Yes,
gorgeous.
it's too heavy for me to use, but you know,
yeah.
if you find a heavy sword, you can balance it on your forearm.
Yep. Oh, I
Right.
love that. That's hard to do, but I love when you can do that with a sword. It's difficult.
You
Yeah.
you can run it down your arm, which I find harder. The
That's
further
hard.
you get, the further you get the heaviness from your shoulder, the heavier it is.
Yep.
So balance it on your forearm.
Yep. Yeah. I love that. There's some heavy swords. So, well, let's talk about the energy of air with the sword. So, you know, energy of air is about information and thoughts and all that. Can you see a relationship with our Athame and those air characteristics.
Well, that's how you use the Athame, right?
Yeah.
This is the incantation that I am speaking at this time. You are almost always speaking some kind of an incantation when you're holding.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also and when you're talking about a pen, that makes sense. That's writing. That's information. That's air. Why wouldn't you be able to use that in the same way?
Well, and when you are doing candle magic, you use the Athame, and you write on the candle. You draw a pentacle, right? And then you turn the candle sideways, which this has water in it. So, and you write along the line, and you just turn your candle and you write your spell on the candle with the Athame.
Yep, that's how you do your inscribing your candles. And so you brought up the white handled knife. Now that's used for actual cutting things, right?
Yeah, like if you've got to cut herbs. So I do use my Athame in candle magic because I'm transferring my will, right? My power, my intent from me to the thing through my Athame. But if I need to cut something other than inscribing on wax or inscribing on, like something that I'm doing that with, if I was going to cut herbs, or if I was going to go cut a wand, if I was going to cut something that I was going to use for magical purposes, like a length of cord, I would use a white handled knife and not my Athame. Or white handled.
Bring that up because people have asked, why do we have the white handled knife, and what's the difference between that and the Athame? And you just said it. It's the white handled knife is for actually cutting things. Your Athame is more of your spiritual cutting, I guess. Your magical cutting.
Cuts the spiritual things. Now, I had a priestess one time, the one who taught me how to say the charge of the goddess. She came and visited me when I was studying with Paul, and she had an Athame like this, and it had a crowned stag handle on it. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah. And she was using it to stir the cauldron, and my teacher was like, he was a Kabbalist, so he was super, super technical picky, which I probably needed because I'm super, super not technical picky. And unless it comes to something that I deem as important. Then he was like, what are you doing? Why are you, that's the white handled. And she said, black handled? White handled, because it was black on one side and white on the other. And she just blew him right off with that. So you guys were giving you all of these details, but your magic is your own. And what's important to you is important to you. So if that's not true for you, it's not true for you. And you really don't let anybody take that away from you, because that's the purity of magic is in your heart and soul.
Yeah. There's I think Amy has something. Cutting with the white knife puts good energy into what you are cutting, or neutral.
That's cutting with the white knife is using a sacred blade to cut things, as opposed to a kitchen knife that you pulled out of the cabinet. So yes, I would assume that it puts good energy into it.
Yeah. We were talking earlier, so do our viewers know what is our Athame projective, or is it receptive? Does anyone want to type? Is it projective? Is it, if you're projective, receptive? Is it male? Is it female? Is it? Because we said it earlier.
I like to use projective, receptive, as opposed to masculine or feminine, because the world is changing, and you can't even say positive. You can't even say positive or negative, because it denotes that something is evil or bad, right? Yeah. And so projective and receptive really puts out there what we're trying to say when we say masculine and feminine, but doesn't exclude anybody.
And it is, and we got a few people said it is projective, and so
yay!
You were You were saying something about a little rite that we do with our Athame and our chalice. Yeah.
As the chalice is to the goddess or to the feminine.
So is the blade to the male or the masculine, and together they bring things, all things. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
That is your great right. Yeah.
So
And
you know how Gardner came up with the name of it, Great Right?
you know what? I'm gonna find out. I never really looked into that. I know that isn't it also called the Hieros Gamos? The Hieros Gamos?
No, the Hieros Gamos is the Great Marriage.
The Great Marriage. Okay, the Hieros Gamos. Okay.
Right. No, so one day, Gerald Gardner had finished enjoying an afternoon with one of his lovely ladies. And he leans back to light a cigarette and he says, "That was great, right?" And she goes, "What?" And he says, "Oh, we call it the Great Right."
Well, okay, that's amazing. I did not know that.
That's the gospel according to Dusty. That's a joke. That's not real.
Okay, never mind. That was great, right? I am gullible. Dang it, Dusty. I am so gullible. I'm glad you said that's the gospel according to Dusty, because I would have been telling my coven next week. So the Great Right.
Yeah, you always got to say I'm telling a joke when it sounds like it could be real, because people.
Real.
This is how the mysteries get bastardized.
Oh gosh, I love it though. That was great, right?
It was Great Right. Oh, we call it the Great Right. Yeah. So the Great Right is a very special ritual because it represents the joining of the two forces, the phallus and the womb, right? The vagina.
Yeah.
And the phallus portion of it is the Athame. And I rarely see anybody using a wand or a plate. The wand and the plate are used for different kinds of magic. This is used to consecrate and bind, give birth to. It's done at the end of the ritual for the most part, unless the ritual itself is the Great Right. It's done at the end. The maypole is a Great Right ritual.
Yes.
I mean, what kind of ritual would that be? A maypole is a Great Right ritual.
It's a Great Right ritual.
Right. Well, I have this beautiful priestess who came right before the pandemic. She's never been to a Beltane that wasn't online.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So she's practicing the Great Right. She's already a second degree because she's that awesome. And she's leading, right?
Yeah.
So she's like practicing the Great Right with her priest. And I'm like, "Baby, the whole thing is a Great Right." And she went, "Oh, I'll be ready for next time then."
That whole thing was a Great Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't think about it, right? You don't think the whole thing is a Great Right though. And the Great Right can be done actual is the
with
word.
two people.
Yes. Actual or symbolic. Yeah. And today we usually don't do actual Great Rites in
coven work.
Public. We usually do the symbolic Great Right. Now I don't know what everybody does. I can't speak for everybody, but I've never done Great Right in public.
I have experienced actual Great Right, but that's just between me and my husband doing a special private loving ritual. But the majority of the covens I have talked to say that they do the symbolic Great Right. They're just more comfortable with that. But there are covens that have their priest and priestess or their whoever is doing the projective and the receptive. It could be two priests, it could be two priestesses, it could be a priestess, it could be, but whoever is representing those energies, I have known covens that they do that, and I think that's beautiful. But
I have
experienced
the actual Great Rite in coven settings, and it is beautiful.
Yeah. It is very beautiful. Yeah.
It is very sacred.
Yeah.
And you cannot have just anybody in the, it has to be a very close-knit coven setting. And it's not about, it's about the God and Goddess coming together. It's a very sacred experience, very beautiful.
Well,
but most of the times we do the symbolic. Most of the time we do the symbolic. Most of the time we do the symbolic.
Well, there's a lot of witches out there, especially I would have male witches message me because they just think all us, because we are very free as witches with our bodies. We are pro sex, we are pro life, we are pro our bodies and celebrating. But there's a beautiful intent behind it, and sometimes you get those creepers that are like, so I hear witches have sex in the coven, and it's just like, I want to sign up, and I'm like, oh, no, you just told me no, because just saying that I hear witches like to have sex in the circle. Can I be in your coven? Nope.
So people ask me, this is what I tell them, Lola. Here you go. This is the Bella answer. People say, do I have to have sex to be in your group? And I say, don't you think we'd be a bigger group? You gotta work hard to be in the wise tradition. It's rigorous. If all you gotta do is
I've had people ask me that before they even thought about talking about asking to be in our coven or whatever. They're like, do we have to have sex with it? And I always say, now I'm going to say what you just said. We would be a bigger group if we'd
be a bigger group. And then they laugh and they go, yeah, that makes sense. I'll tell you that, on the topic of the Great Rite and the Athame, the thing that people say to undermine a high priestess's respect in the community is that, she just initiates people when they have sex with her. And there's not really any backbone to her training. She just wants to have sex with younger boys. And so this is how she does it. Things like that. It's really not what we're about. So when you hear those kinds of things, you should consider the motive behind the person that's saying it. They're just gossiping. Maybe they're mean-spirited. I don't know. But that's not the kind of thing that most people do. I'm gonna go grab a water, Bella. I'm choking. I got all choked up on your answer. I apologize. She wants to be a part of my bigger coven. That's what that is. Okay. I heard that. My house is small. I was hoping you would. So let's talk about it. Please, if you have questions, please ask them. We try to stay on topic, but it's a woven web, and sometimes it goes into unexpected places. But if you were going to pull this card as an oracle, if you pulled this for you out of the oracle deck, what would you think it was saying to you? So right now, when me looking at this, and then this will give maybe some of our viewers time to take a look. Yeah, if I got this card pulled today, for me, I think it would right away, just intuitively, because of what's going on, I need to cut some ties with some energies that have been hanging on me. So yeah, it's very personal. There's stuff going on where it's not bad, but it's family related. But yeah, I need to cut some of that energy that I have been holding on my back and just kind of release it. And so that's what I get from this. Immediately, that's what I got. So very personal. Wow. How about you, Bella? Well, if I pulled this in a deck, I would think that I should get on with writing Channeling Divinity, which is the sophomore book. It's we lost a chapter. And it's so difficult to recreate all of that creativity, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
once you've done it, you've done it. And so it's hard to
Yep.
get it back. But I mean, I have found a way to write that book the way I want to, because it's a color therapy book and we were going to produce it in black and white, and it just didn't make my soul happy. But now we have
Oh,
found a
yeah.
way to produce it in color, and I'm super excited about it. So I would think that that's saying quit procrastinating, quit finding other things to do, and get on with it. Set aside a time and dedicate that time every day until it's done.
And and it's interesting because we have two different ways of looking at this, but they're very Athame related. One is cutting some negative energy, and yours is about creativity and thought and writing and which is very Athame and air like as well. So it's kind of like the Ace of Swords, I guess.
I look at it as the Ace of Swords.
Yeah.
The whole time I was looking at it, but that's how divination works, Lola. I can do a reading online, and they're doing it right now. And you can find readings. So you go across TikTok, which I know that's mine and your favorite TV, and they'll hold up these cards and tell you what they mean, and they'll say this reading's for you, and it can apply a million different ways because there's a million different people who are looking at it from the things that are going on in their life, and they're taking the wisdom and they're applying it to their story. And you can do that always. It's going to bring out in you what it's going to bring out in you. And that's why Oracle decks are so perfect and wonderful, because they help stimulate what you've got going on with you. You know that you need to do that. I know that I need to do this.
Yes. So Kayla put what she thinks this would be. I would feel like it's telling me to protect my spirit and continue to break the curses I'm working on. See? Beautiful. Beautifully done. You guys know how to when we do this part, there are people like, oh, I don't know how to read tarot. And it's like, but you know what you feel when you see something. And tarot is intuitive. What intuitively did that first thing? Because I could have done Ace of Swords, get some ideas, but what's been happening with me, I'm like, I got to release some energy and just kind of let go and let Goddess. So that's awesome.
When you look at this Athame, it speaks certain things to you, such as it's gold hilted and encrusted with gems, which means it's precious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then it's got the triple moon and the black and red on the hilt, which calls to mind that it's sacred, right?
Yeah.
It's got the broken chains there, which would indicate that it is cutting through something.
Yeah.
You see, that's how you look at symbolism. What does this mean?
And
that it's a fancy knife? No, it means it's treasured.
For those watching, the artist that our coven commissioned, her name is Ari Bratsis here in Spokane, Washington, and she did all the artwork. And this was one of my favorites. Because I thought she just really captured the Athame in this. Cutting the chain. Amy says that's what it says to me too. Cutting the chain that binds you. Yep. Yeah. Break free.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's the thing, is we all know what we need to break free of. We all know. We might be putting it off. We might be avoiding it. We might be in denial about it, but we know, and the gods know. And that's what these decks help you, is to unlock what you already know and validate you, reinforce that you're giving yourself the right, and help you move on with it.
Yep. Mostly. Yeah. I love it. I love that people, when they do this, they find out that, oh gosh, I am developing a personal relationship with my intuition and with these images. And it's a lot of fun. I like seeing what people do, what they come up with.
Yeah, it's fun. Well, this is a fantastic chat. I always enjoy getting to share with you, because, it's not as much as I do love exploring with my own students. We pretty much believe and know the same things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they can ask me leading questions that they already know the answer to, but it's really fun with you because you were trained in a different tradition.
Yeah.
and getting to say, well, this is what I do, this is what you do, and we can find the similarities and explore the differences, and that's
Absolutely.
what makes witchcraft fantastic. So
There
you
was,
guys, I
there was,
want to go ahead.
I was gonna say there's one other thing I remember at the school that Cara, the dean of the school, taught me, is when we would do invocation, if we needed to ground, she said, grab the blade of your Athame. And that actually really, really helped a lot. That helped me ground and devoke. So yeah.
Yes, it will cut the energy and protect
Yep.
you. When you feel like you're under psychic attack, you feel like you're getting negative energy, you can hold your Athame, or you can take it and you can cut around your aura if you feel like somebody has infiltrated your shields. You can cut it. You can I have these kanji symbols that I use to draw symbols in the air to protect myself. There are a lot of different things that you can do with them.
Yeah.
When you think about it, your tools are there to be used. They're not just decoration on your altar.
Yeah.
I wanted to leave everybody with some wisdom, because we're talking about blades, and magic cuts both ways. I want you to remember that while it's fun to find similarities with other witches, nobody thinks like you do. And if you are the only one that's right and everybody else is wrong, that's a very lonely circle. Celebrate and explore the diversities in different kinds of witchcraft that enhances your own. We don't take anybody's word carte blanche for anything. We weigh it against our own belief systems, and we keep what we like and we get rid of what we don't. You can honor other people and allow them to be right, because what you can imagine is true.
Yep.
While it not making you wrong. There's room for everybody to be right in their world, and you can have a much bigger group of friends when you come from a place of mutual respect.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This was awesome. What an awesome conversation. And the artwork, like I said, I was really happy for this, because this is one of my favorite images. And so I was excited to talk about this.
She did a really good job.
Yeah, this is gorgeous. If you guys want to if you want to find out more about what I do, like I always say, I am all over Facebook. Our coven does a lot over on Discord. We're Children of the Crossroads. You can find us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, and any pagan website, like local, or not website, but Facebook group. We have Spokane area pagans and witches, Pacific Northwest pagans. I do a lot of advertising for our stuff, so you can find what we are doing there and come and visit us too, because we like to talk about this stuff as well.
You do it on Wednesday, right? On Discord on Wednesdays?
Wednesdays at 6:30. So, yep, we will be talking about the Athame. We are not recording it. We're not broadcasting it. It's more of a video class, I guess.
It's a more intimate experience where everybody's got their heads on the page, right?
Yeah.
And you can talk to each other. Yeah, so it's different. It's good and it's different, and there's things that are the same, and you can go watch it again if you want to. If you want to get more of the Aquarian Tabernacle Church into your life, you can go to ATC Wicca and look under the events section, and you should be able to see all of the events from the affiliates around the world who have listed them. They don't all do it, because it's a lot of marketing out there, and sometimes they forget. But for the most part, we have daily devotionals every day, and wiccanseminary.edu for your formal training. If you want to really delve in this and take it serious and learn on the next level, wiccanseminary.edu. The .edu means it's a real school. It's a state-approved school with real degrees from associates to doctorate, not Wicca 1, 2, 3. It's first, second, and third. It's associate's degree in Wicca ministry, bachelor's degree in Wicca ministry. If you want your children to be more involved, there is a children's ministry called spiralscouts.org that you can check into. And of course, we're all over Facebook and TikTok, Instagram,
all
Twitter,
the places.
where we're on Discord, but I'm not. But we are. I am. But it's so many places.
There's so many. I know
places.
there's a lot, but what we're saying is there are so many ways that you can find us.
So you might want to come to if you're in the local Seattle area, or if you want to fly out to Seattle. We're doing GodCon. You can scroll down and you'll find an advertisement, I'm sure, to GodCon. And or you can look at atcwicca.org and find out more about GodCon. That's when we get together and do invocations. Lola's coming this year. I saw her registration come through. Lola, Are you going to invoke this year?
Yes, I am.
Who are you bringing to GodCon?
I'm bringing Aphrodite. I'm very excited. Yeah. Yes. I'm going to give you all the vapors. I promise.
Yes. Yes. So GodCon is when you come and present an invoked monologue of like 2 to 4 minutes, and you introduce yourself to the community as though you were that deity. We all learn a lot about a lot of different gods, and it's fun. And we also cast for our festivals, Hecate Sickle Festival and Spring Mysteries Festival from GodCon. So hope to see you there. Thank you so much for watching today. What's our next card, Lola?
I believe our next topic is, let me look at this. I can pull it up. It is, I believe it's the chalice, but I don't want to say, so hold on. It is the chalice.
The chalice. Come share your hearts with us next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Have a great day.